Hello, Ryan. Welcome back to the podcast.
Hello, sir. How are you this morning?
Very, very good. How are
Yeah,
you
good.
going?
Yeah, excellent, mate. Yeah,
Excellent.
excellent,
Always good
excellent.
when we're recording a podcast
Always excellent.
episode.
Yes.
Speaking of excellent, three excellent clues for you this morning. Clue number one: the world's first dental school was established. We're looking for a city. Was
Yeah,
established in this city at a state university.
Boston.
No,
Dang.
feel like that's a good guess.
Yeah,
There's
that's a good.
something, yeah,
That's a good guess, man. I'm telling you, I
yeah.
could feel it.
But incorrect nonetheless. Clue
It's
number
not a bad
two.
guess. Yep.
Yeah. Clue number two. The largest, you definitely would have heard of this city. I'm
Mm,
certain of it.
okay.
The largest public market, Lexington Market, was founded in 1782 and is one of the longest running markets in the world and the largest public market in the state.
Man, Lexington. Hmm. I have a feeling like Kentucky is like Lexington is Kentucky, but I think Lexington is a city in Kentucky. Ah, man, I don't know. Let's just go another one. Let's go back to the dental thing. Feel
Okay,
like,
so this
yeah,
one is in your hitting zone, pun intended.
it's USA. Yeah, yeah,
The Sultan of SWAT, who
yeah.
is Babe
I'm
Ruth, of
assuming
course.
Babe Ruth. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, come on, man.
People say the
Um,
Bambino. Yeah.
yes. I saw that one as well.
Yep.
Was a native of this city.
Oh God. I thought, yeah, like New York.
No,
Yeah.
we
Okay.
are in Baltimore in Maryland.
Wow. He's from Baltimore. I didn't know that.
There you go.
And
I
Lexington
thought
and
I
dental
thought you
school.
might have got that. I wasn't sure
Interesting.
how. Um,
Yeah. No. Historically well versed I was in the Bambino. Nah.
yeah.
Nah. Not very much.
Well, there you go. We're in Baltimore, Maryland today.
Interesting.
Our guest, she sent through a few facts. So she's currently unemployed, but prior to this travel break, she was a VP of marketing at Nestle. So I wouldn't necessarily say unemployed. I'd just be saying taking a break from paid work. Well, she's on unpaid leave, I would say.
Yeah, they
Um,
say George Costanza would say in a transitional phase.
yeah. Okay.
So
So
yeah,
let's say transitional phase.
yep.
She is currently single and she's into photography and travel, the most prevalent hobbies, and they've helped her process her grief in a life-changing way. So looking forward to this chat with Heather Stapf. So welcome to the Remembering Them podcast, Heather. Thank you very much for joining us all the way from Baltimore in Maryland.
Yes. Yep.
So I gave Ryan a few clues and he didn't work out where you were located.
I failed.
So if we were coming over to Baltimore, what would you suggest or recommend people do or check out?
Definitely if you love baseball, Oriole Park at Camden Yards.
That's this guy. Yeah.
I'm that guy. Yeah.
It's a stadium that mixes the modern amenities of a stadium, but it's got that authentic old school feel. So I'm a little bit biased. I love the Orioles, so I would say Camden Park.
It's I've been to America a lot of times and I've ticked off quite a lot of stadiums, but I've never been to Camden Yards. I've only I've been think of it. I flew into Baltimore and been picked up from the airport and then we left. So I saw it at
Yeah.
some point and but it looks like an awesome field. And the Orioles are a frustrating team and it would be a nightmare to be a fan of for so many
Yeah,
years.
but that's where they get the Oriole magic from, you know. So every once in a while they can achieve greatness, but most of the time it's could be worse.
That's amazing. Cal Ripken was his record is one of the most amazing records in baseball. Um,
Oh yeah.
Mark, this guy, this is such a tangent, but Cal Ripken played like every game. Like I said, 162 games a season. Cal Ripken played every game for like 20 years. Didn't miss a single game,
Mhm.
Wow.
which is like the next closest is like a year or something. Like it's not even like no one will ever break that record again.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why they call him the Iron Man.
The Iron Man, yeah. And he was
Yeah.
like just finished playing in I don't know early 2000s or something. So he was like in like our lifetime as well. So pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Very impressive.
Okay.
Sounds like you've
Well,
got a visitor, Heather, next time.
yeah, welcome to the
Mine's
baseball
over.
podcast.
You guys can just chat baseball and head to the
Sorry.
field.
Uh, uh,
No, we'll save that for when you visit in person. But thank you again
yeah.
for joining us, Heather. If you'd like to start by telling us who we're going to be discussing today and remembering today.
Yeah. Well, I want to talk about my dad. His name was Richard Stapf, and he passed away on October 4th, 2016. And I mean, it was a surprise, but it wasn't a surprise. He had been sick in a different kind of way, but what ultimately led to his demise, that was a surprise. It was quite an experience, and the last several years have been an amazing journey through grief. And so I'm really excited to talk about him.
And what happened to Richard, Heather? What ultimately took him away?
So it kind of all started sort of back in 2014. So about 2 years prior, he had developed this weird condition where his legs would go numb and no one could really figure out what it was. It was severely impacting his work. And one day he just walked off the job and ended up basically being bedridden. Um, and in early 2016 in May, I flew home. I was living in Seattle at the time, and I flew home to Baltimore to surprise my mom for Mother's Day. And when I got here, I had no idea how truly bad he had gotten. I mean, he was bedridden, and I was mad at both my parents. And I struggled with that guilt of being mad about this for a very long time after he died. But I was mad that they kept it from me. And I understand now why they did that, but it was frustrating. So we had an argument, and it was the last time I ever talked to my dad. Eventually, he did decide to go to the hospital. I think after giving him the silent treatment, which is another reason why I felt incredibly guilty after he died. Um, it sort of pushed him like, okay, I'm gonna go get treatment. So he went to the hospital and he ends up having a stroke and ended up going into a nursing long-term care facility. And within a couple of months, he just progressively got worse, stroke after stroke after stroke, and he passed away.
It's a sort of a not a theme, but we've talked to I don't know quite a few people at this point, and it's not that uncommon for parents to be like hiding these illnesses from
Yeah,
their yeah their offspring. So it's
yeah,
not that surprising. They think that they are doing them a favor, or they don't want them to worry, or they I don't know they have these weird reasons.
yeah. And I totally understand it, but at the time I was
Yeah.
so mad.
I can see it from both sides. As a parent with two little ones, I'm just thinking when they're older and if whatever I become sick, I think I would do the same. I think I would hide it and just not want them to worry. But
Yeah,
understandably, they'd be very annoyed if I didn't say
yeah.
anything as well. So I can definitely see it from both sides of the fence. Heather, how would you describe Richard to us, to complete strangers?
Well, I mean, he was stubborn, obviously. His coworkers called him Brahma Bull, so rightfully fitting name. But he was really funny and very kind, and really just a big kid at heart. Honestly, he was really fun dad to have growing up with, because he was always willing to, you know, play along. I'm an only child, so like play along with me and let me win at races. There's a video of when I was a kid and he's on a motorcycle and I'm on a bike and we're like racing in a parking lot. And clearly he would be the winner here, but he stopped and he let me win. And so, he was a big kid at heart for sure.
I probably wouldn't have. I'm winning that race. I'm a super
Yeah.
competitor.
Mark is slamming his kid into the ground. You gotta learn early, Manny.
And I mean, speaking of learning, what lessons did you learn from your dad?
One big thing that still kind of sticks with me today is that he used to always tell me the squeaky wheel gets the oil, but if you squeak too much, they'll replace you. And I feel like that is a great, that's really a great saying to set you through whole of life, whether it's personal, professional, like speak up, speak your mind, but be strategic in speaking your mind. So I think that's a great lesson to learn from a guy who was a truck driver. I mean, he had a way of seeing the world that was so unique.
You hear that saying so much, but you never hear part B of that saying.
Oh,
It's
maybe he made
uh,
that part up.
I think it's so good though. It's like the jack of all trades one. I can't remember
Right.
the second one. The jack of all trades, master of none. But then
Master of none.
and
Yeah.
then there's like that other bit that I can't remember that puts it all into context. Do you remember it, Mike?
No, I don't. I don't. I was going to
Yeah.
ask you, Heather, how did that? Because I really like the second part of the squeaky wheel saying. How did that help you? Because I know you're in a transition at the moment, with some taking some time away from work. But how did that? Because you were quite high up in your previous role as a VP.
Yeah.
Did that help you or relate to what you did your previous role?
I mean, I think it is the reason why I was able to find my voice at a young age and be able to express myself and be not scared to speak up. Um, Not to turn this into a gender podcast, like a baseball podcast, but I mean, I think that a lot of times women are really, they don't want to speak up in like a setting, and it holds them back in corporate America at least. And so I think finding that delicate balance really helped me succeed.
Yeah, women are usually smarter too, so it's a shame. Especially in the corporate sense. I feel like we're sort of heading to that point where it's just like corporations are realizing this surely, and we're gonna move past that.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, I think that that gave me just a little bit, voice in the back of the head to just keep going and pushing forward.
Mm.
Apart from the squeaky wheel saying, did he have another quote or saying that you remember him by?
Yes, common sense ain't that common, which is grammatically incorrect, but it is catchy. So,
I'm assuming that would have helped you in your work in your career as well.
I mean, not, I'm honestly, so after I decided to take a break from my career, I have been on the road traveling. I'm from Baltimore originally, but I traveled solo, through Canada and the US. And, I mean, common sense ain't that common. It's a good thing to remember when you're on the road because you can see some things, some crazy things for sure.
Hey, yeah, and that common sense ain't that common. It frustrates you when you have to work with people in a company as well. That's probably the most
Yeah,
frustrating. But yeah, Mark, you would know this.
yeah,
Yeah, I think it's a good one because if you remember that saying, then you can let a lot of things go that you would otherwise find really frustrating and just pure
yeah.
stupidity. Yeah, makes
Mm.
sense. Do you have a favorite story or memory of your dad?
Um, I mean, I have a story that's kind of funny. I don't really remember it, but he told it, and I feel like it kind of sums up, me and him in a really great way. So apparently, when I was like 3 years old, I was ornery doing something, and he was gonna smack my bottom. And so apparently, he put me over his lap and he's like, "This is gonna hurt me more than it hurts you." And he lightly tapped me. And apparently I turned around and I said, "Is that all you got?" And apparently he completely broke character. And he used to tell that story and laugh hysterically with this big belly laugh. So that's a really fond memory that I don't quite remember, but I can appreciate it a lot.
It's really good. How old did you say you were, Heather, or would have been at the
Three.
time? Three. Yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah. So
have you
apparently I've been a squeaky wheel for a very long time.
has Manny done this to you yet, Mark? Have
No,
you?
I can. It's coming. I've got a soon turning four soon, Heather. So I'm yeah, pretty certain that's coming.
Yeah,
It's really good.
especially with your weak slaps.
Fair play. Heather, based on you mentioned you travel and you've taken some time to process and work through this grief. What have you done that's helped you that might help others out there?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think first off, grief takes time, and your timetable is not the same as the timetable of another friend that loses a parent, or, maybe the last time you lost someone like a grandparent or something like that. Grief is an incredibly wild and human experience, and it can change you for the better if you allow it to really open your eyes. And to really appreciate all those moments, like looking back and feeling fond memories, like of course, but taking that time to heal. I mean, me personally, I didn't talk about it. And I was the first of my friend group to sort of lose a parent. A couple of years after my dad died, I had some friends that lost their mom like one after the other, which is a really unfortunate time. But taking that time to sort of I held it in too long and I needed to get help. And so I went to grief counseling. That was the first step that I took. And being able to talk in an open and safe space. And I was really lucky that in Seattle, there was a community resource. So a college that had a doctorate program had a really low income, cheap, affordable. At the time, I wasn't working. And so it was just really, it was exactly what I needed. And it was so helpful. And then planning the best way to pay respects would be the next thing I would say. And it may not need to be an immediate thing. Some people want to have a funeral immediately, a memory service. I waited 2 years, nearly 2 years to spread my dad's ashes. I had a memorial service for him about a month after he died at a donkey rescue. And that plays kind of into the donkeys play into a big part of what he wanted to do when he retired and kind of where I also spread his ashes. But I decided that on what would have been his 60th birthday, I was ready to spread his ashes. And so I went on this kind of epic road trip across Route 66 in Arizona to spread his ashes. And it was really an amazing experience. It helped me sort of close the final chapter, but there had been other things that had happened. Like I had a really vivid dream where it was kind of like he was speaking to me. And so that grief process takes a long time. And I mean, even now, I think it's what, been 7, 8 years. I'm still grieving in some way, but it's a different kind of way. And it's really beautiful in some ways as well.
Is there anything that you've done that you think you could have done differently, or that you would recommend people maybe don't do? Or
um, don't hide your emotions. Don't stuff them down. And like, if you need to cry, cry. If you need to talk to someone, talk to someone. I know that's a lot easier said than done. And I didn't do it for 2 years, but I think it's healthy to have conversations. Death, unfortunately, is a part of life. And we need to have open conversations about it because finding your community, finding that like joy in that moment of sorrow can really help you process that grief. And so just know that people want to help you and to speak out and to talk to someone.
so it was counseling that really helped you, I guess, at a high time of need. Was there anything else? Did you speak to other family members or friends post working through that with a counselor?
Yeah, I mean, I think as weird as this may be, I don't think anyone realized, especially some of my close friends, how it really felt to lose a parent until they were in that same situation. And um, them losing their mothers, it sort of formed this like community, and we could just openly talk about our grief, which not a lot of people have that. And so I'm really was really fortunate that it came at the time that it did. But it was also so nice to be able to help each other through a lot of the emotions. Like I felt a ton of guilt about the last time I saw my dad in person, being mad at him about not telling me. And so that took a long time for me to process. And that was why I think it took me so long to let go and allow him like rest finally, if that makes sense.
It definitely does. The community thing speaks to me because we had Ryan Danielle from Motherless Daughters on the podcast last year, and that's exactly what she does. She's built a community around
Yeah.
particularly women that have lost their mothers and have their community around to support each other now. So and to not feel alone, which is the big point of this podcast as well. It's just sharing that community, sharing that grief, and listening to other people's journeys as well to realize you're not alone. So I think
Yeah.
that's a really, really good point you make around community.
Yeah.
You spoke about the dropping the ashes at was it you say donkey farm? That's really interesting.
Donkey rescue.
Donkey rescue.
Yeah.
That was where the memorial service was held.
Okay. Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you honor your dad today? You said it's been 6 or 7 years now.
Um, I think obviously, well, one of the interesting things, so my dad was a truck driver and he loved the open road. And I definitely also inherited that from him. I mean, I think that taking 6 months and traveling on a very long road trip uh, kind of speaks to the fact I wasn't living out of my car or anything. I'm too bougie for that. I was sleeping in hotels, but I was definitely like on the road and really enjoyed that. One of the things is I keep a picture of him in my visor above the driver's seat. So it's kind of like he's always in the car with me, sort of guiding me. Um, and another thing is, I think, really savoring those moments. Also, my dad was really into harmonica, and I have tried to learn. I'm trying to learn, but it takes a lot more breath control than I thought it was going to take. I mean, he always made it look so easy, and I'm kind of one of the things I'm sort of bummed about is I never got to tell him how amazing of a harmonica player he really was because now I have a whole new appreciation because it is hard. It's hard.
Did you have any go-tos that you would bust out?
He has his own sort of
Just
spin.
freestyled.
Yeah, I have a, do you want to hear? Uh,
Yeah.
is that a weird thing? All right, hold on. I'm gonna pull it up, but
Yeah, that's
also I'm
okay.
gonna have to.
Don't edit this out, Mark. Make sure we
Oh
have
no,
all.
this is in for sure.
Um,
It'll be
let's
another first
see.
for the podcast.
No, I
Oh,
meant like just the Phil chat.
Oh yeah.
So you have a
um,
recording of him playing?
yeah. So, back in 2013, he got his first. No, yes, it was. No, it was 2014 because it was right before I moved to Seattle. He got his first smartphone, and
I guess
he's
a
like, "Oh, it's
gig.
got the."
His first gig with Stevie Wonder. Yeah.
But he's like, "Oh, it's got the Google," and so
Got the coup.
he's like, could you, he's like, you think you can film a video of me like playing the harmonica? So I did. That was the first thing I ever captured on his new smartphone.
Oh, how good.
Um, yeah, he was definitely a Luddite. So him getting a smartphone, that was a big,
Well, he said it's
that was
got
a,
the Google, so
that's a
yeah.
that's a red flag.
does he say it's on the line as well? Just put it on the
Oh,
line.
sorry, I'm looking for
No,
it.
that's all right. One of my friend's kids says, instead of like searching for it online, she says, search it up. Which I just find that funny. It's just like, yeah, search it up. Like look it up, search. I don't know.
Okay. Okay. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, I can't hear it.
Oh, you can't hear it?
Nah, I think Zoom is like blocking that. Um,
Well, I could send you the file if you want
Yeah,
in
let's do
email.
that. Yeah,
yeah.
Okay,
sounds good.
sorry.
I
I
can
thought that maybe
splice.
that was the
No,
problem, but
that'll
No,
work.
no.
I'll
Zoom
splice it
does
in.
like Zoom does noise suppression, so if it's not voice, it like knocks it out.
Mm.
I literally tried this yesterday because somebody was like, I met with someone, they're like, play me a song on the guitar, and I did, and it, like they didn't hear it because
Oh,
so
No,
yeah,
that sounds good. If you can send that through, that'd be great.
Yeah.
sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can
Sorry about that.
whip it in. No, no,
No,
no.
that's okay.
I want to hear it.
I do too. Yeah. So what were we talking about before? Honoring your dad. So you're trying to play
Yeah.
the harmonica. You're trying
Yeah.
to, and do you think you'll get to the level, bearing in mind that we've now listened to his talent? Do you think you'll ever get to that level? You're going to keep trying?
Uh, you know what? I think it's fun. I don't think it's for me though, but I think it's a fun thing to just noodle at for sure. Um, maybe I just don't have that bluesy gene. I can appreciate good blues music, but maybe it just doesn't
Maybe
emanate
need
out of
maybe
me.
need to go
So
to prison or something. That might inspire you.
maybe, maybe, maybe.
Don't go to prison. Heather, I with the I know he was a truck driver, and that really I have a vision in my mind that a lot of truck drivers have their, family members on the visor. So I think it's really interesting that you have a picture of him in your car. Was that the case? Did Dad have a picture of you
No,
in
he
his
just
truck?
had he was old school. Sorry, he just had photos in his wallet. So
Yeah.
yeah.
What's planned for the future for yourself?
Well, I mean, for me next, it's figuring out personally what's next in my life with my where I'm going to live and sort of what I'm going to do professionally. I think that this sort of journey that I've been on, like with this break, sort of was the last chapter of this process. And so it kind of allowed me to sort of reprioritize my life, which I think that was a big lesson that I learned through all of this is prioritizing what really matters and figuring out what matters because what matters to you doesn't necessarily matter. The same thing doesn't matter to me and so forth. So it's been it's been a really amazing journey. It really has.
And that was the reason for that question, Heather. I know it might have seemed a bit left field to people, but it was, I think, based on what you've experienced and how you've worked through the grief. It really feels to me like you utilizing and using that to make your next move in life, or career wise and personally.
Yeah, I mean, I think that everything I've experienced, I definitely think this road trip for sure. I mean, kind of embracing his spirit of just sort of being on the open road and getting to meet people. I took mostly no highways on my trip. And so I really got to see America. And it was really, really nice. And he loved the desert. He wanted to retire to Arizona and rescue donkeys. That's why there's a whole donkey connection and why I spread his ashes in Arizona. And so, kind of sort of spending time sort of in the Southwest in the desert was really an amazing time. And one of the things that I got to do, my dad was part Native. And so I got to spend a night in Monument Valley in the backcountry. And it was an incredibly moving and spiritual experience. And it was just amazing, absolutely amazing.
Now, the final question for the podcast, traditionally the hardest question. If your dad was in front of you today, what would you say to him?
Um, that is a hard question. I think I would want to thank him. I don't think I showed my appreciation for him enough when he was alive, and so I would want to show like the gratitude of that we may have not had a ton of money growing up, but we were very comfortable. He worked incredibly hard. Um, and he worked hard to put food on the table, to make sure that I never felt like we were actually not well off. I thought we were pretty well off, and when you look back. So he did some amazing things to help care for me, and he taught me a lot of lessons that I carry with me now, and that have helped me and continue to help me through life. Though I would say I would tell him that I would have appreciated less stubbornness, because being stubborn is a bit of a pitfall at times. Sure.
It's just a guy thing. Don't worry.
Ah, well, when you get it from both sides, both your mom and dad are stubborn, it's pretty hard headed.
I feel like everyone thinks their parents are stubborn in some capacity.
Yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right.
I think part generational too, because I feel like my dad was very much
Yeah,
of the same ilk with
boomers are stubborn. It's just
stubbornness
Yeah.
yeah.
and I can also appreciate how the comment around maybe not expressing that enough, and your gratitude, I guess, for them working really hard. My dad was similar, not a truck driver, but a similar, roll the sleeves up, hard worker, did everything they could
Yeah.
for the family. So I can certainly appreciate that. Would that be a message to people now for those that are fortunate enough to still have their parents around? You mentioned before that friends that haven't gone through the experience that you have with their parents.
Yeah, I mean, I think you don't truly get to really appreciate your parents until you get older and you realize you've lived life a little bit. And so you realize the sacrifices they did make. When you're younger, you don't really see that. And I think so many people are scared sometimes to show emotions because we live in a society where you don't want to be overly emotional, or you don't want to be framed as being overly emotional. But I think showing appreciation and speaking your truth to people, no matter what that is, in a responsible way. Of course, I'm not saying go crazy, but like in a responsible way, telling people how much you care for them, thanking people for small acts, kindness, and even just complimenting, even a stranger or someone that you don't know, you could make their day and completely turn it around and have no idea. So I think really embracing those little moments in life is really important, and appreciating them and showing gratitude for those moments and for those people who provide those moments.
I think that's a perfect way to finish the podcast on some excellent advice from you, Heather. Thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate you giving up your time, and we really loved hearing about Richard and your memories of him and how you've worked through his grief. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Well, Ryan, that was Heather from Baltimore,
It was Heather
Maryland.
from Baltimore, Maryland. Yeah. It's very good. Good chat.
Yeah, look, again, not trying to push this on to people at all, but the exclusive chat afterwards was really cool. There
Oh,
was
stop pushing it onto me. I don't want to pay.
Yeah, well, you've got a subscriber already. Look,
Ah.
there was a story in there that post the memorial service and the spreading of the ashes that was really cool. Actually feel sorry for people that aren't part of it and don't get to listen to it. It
But
was really nice.
this is why we do the exclusive, because I don't know about what it seems looser, doesn't it? And then
Mm,
it gives people a little chance to go, oh, I don't know if you wanted to hear this story. And usually the answer to that is yes, we wanted to hear that story. So yeah, I don't know. And then that story was really cool.
yeah, exactly. So
Love to tell you more, but we can't.
no pressure, but
Oh,
jump on
well.
that. $6 a month US. Jump on it.
Yeah, come on.
It was
Don't be
a really good
tight.
chat. Yeah.
Good talk. Good chat.
So that was really cool, mate. What I took from that chat is the community side of things that Heather mentioned, that helped her get through it. And I guess thinking about what we're trying to do, that's really what it's about, as well as having a community of people you can listen to that have gone through something maybe similar, maybe different, but it's all grief in different ways. So I really took that aspect out of it, and also, again, not to happen back on our Patreon members, when we have that conference where you can connect to people again, you'll have that community of people that you can talk to and share in your stories. So that is a lesson that I took out of our chat with Heather, that it's important to have a community around you to help you through it.
Yeah, and seeing professional help too, which is also a recurring theme, which I did as well when I first had my first encounter. So it is good to check in with a professional and just get a little bit of direction.
Yep, absolutely. So we've mentioned Patreon already. Jump on and like, follow, and share this episode, plus any other previous episodes that you've listened to and think that would help someone going through something, going through their own grief journey. And also the My Legacy message services there as well. Heather was fortunate enough to have a harmonica clip on the Google that she was able to help Richard record. So as you know, that service allows people to record not just harmonica pieces, but some video messages to their loved ones, which can be stored and then passed on when they pass away. Thank you, Ryan. I thought you were going to say something.
No, no, I got nothing.
Thanks for your time again.
Thanks, mate.
It was great,
Yeah,
great
no,
chat with
thank you.
Heather.
Yeah.
Good baseball chat at the start there.
Yeah, it's always good baseball chat.
Baltimore Orioles. What is an Oriole? That's a bird, right?
It's a bird, yeah.
Yeah.
Black and orange. I don't know if the Oriole black and orange. I don't know if the team is, but
because I know they're the Ravens, in
Baltimore
the
Ravens.
football.
Yeah,
Is it a bird-based city?
City? I don't know, mate. Yeah,
Maybe we should have asked Heather.
yeah. The ship has sailed. Damn it. The
Thank you
Orioles,
for joining. Oh, sorry. Go, mate.
I was just going to say, yeah, the Orioles are a very frustrating team. And unfortunately for them, they're in the same division as the Yankees and the Red Sox. So it's traditionally been
Powerhouses.
it's been a very tough division to win because those two powerhouses, they got so much money. But Orioles looking good at the moment. So, yeah, we'll see.
Cool.
Not as good as them Broncos, but yeah, anyway, it's
Yeah.
for another day.
Thank you, mate. Appreciate
Thanks,
your time, and I'll speak to you with the next one.
Okay.
Looking
Sounds good,
forward to
mate.
it.
See you there.
Bye.